Hi, my name is Allison Reed,
And I'm Eden Spriggs.
and in our group, we also had Emily Conway and Alexandra Gonzalez. This is a video on how to explain swallowing to a cognitively intact adult as well as a medical student.
So, how do you swallow? First, you have to decide what to eat. Karen is going to eat some pizza. The process of swallowing begins in the mouth during the oral preparatory stage, where food or liquid is chewed and mixed with saliva to form a bolus, which is a small round mass of chewed food. This is known as the oral preparatory phase. During the next during during the oral stage, the tongue, cheeks, and palate work together to manipulate food and push it to the back of the mouth into the pharynx. This begins what is called the pharyngeal phase. The pharynx is a muscular tube that connects to the mouth to the esophagus and serves as a sort of intersection where the pathways for food and air cross. During the pharyngeal stage, the muscles of the pharynx contract to move the food downwards towards the esophagus. During swallowing, the airway is temporarily closed off to prevent food or liquid from entering the lungs. As the food enters the esophagus, the esophageal phase begins. The esophagus is a muscular tube that extends from the throat to the stomach. The muscles of the esophagus then contract to move food down towards the stomach.
So now let's discuss how to swallow and use medical terminology. So we'll start off with the oral preparatory and oral phases together as they are closely related. These two phases are voluntary and involve forming and pushing the bolus towards the back of the mouth. In the oral preparatory stage, the person chews and mixes food with saliva to form the bolus. Once the bolus is formed, the oral stage begins and the bolus is pushed to the back of the mouth and to the pharynx. Many structures are involved in these two stages, including the tongue, teeth, hard and soft palate, and salivary glands. The tongue is essential for manipulating food and initiating the swallowing process using various muscles, along with extrinsic muscles such as the genioglossus, hyoglossus, styloglossus, and paladoglossus muscles. The soft palate moves to close the nasal passages during swallow, and the salivary glands produce saliva, which moistens and binds the food to form the bolus. Cranial nerves 5, 7, 9, and 12 are involved in these stages, with cranial nerve 12, the hypoglossal nerve, playing a significant role in tongue movement, and cranial nerve 7, the facial nerve, providing control to the face in conjunction with cranial nerve 5, the trigeminal nerve, which helps with sensations and motor functions for chewing. Moving on to the pharyngeal stage, this stage is involuntary and it involves propelling the bolus through the pharynx while protecting the airway. The soft palate elevates and closes the nasopharynx, and the epiglottis folds over the laryngeal inlet to prevent aspiration. The vocal folds adduct tightly to protect the airway, while the larynx elevates and moves anteriorly to help close the airway and open the upper esophageal sphincter. Finally, there's a sequential contraction of the superior, middle, and inferior pharyngeal constrictors, which propels the bolus downward to the esophagus. Cranial nerves 9 and 10 are highly involved in helping the muscles elevate the pharynx and the larynx, which would include the suprahyoid muscles, the mylohyoid, geniohyoid, stylohyoid, and digastric muscles, which all elevate the hyoid bone and the larynx during this stage of swallowing. Lastly, the esophageal stage is also involuntary. Once the bolus has reached this stage, it is transported through the esophagus to the stomach through peristaltic contractions. First, the upper esophageal sphincter relaxes, allowing the bolus to enter the esophagus from the pharynx. Peristaltic contractions produced by the esophageal muscle layers push the bolus down the lower esophageal sphincter, which then relaxes and allows the bolus to enter into the stomach. This concludes our video. Thank you very much for watching.